Here at Lloyds Banking Group, there's no such thing as just an apprentice. I'm in a position to say whether our products are fair, ethical and designed to help Britain prosper.
That moment when you realise you're in a team managing over £150 billion in funds.
It isn't all finance all the time. I led a partnership with Macmillan to help our customers access better cancer care.
Everyone knows you can trust Lloyds. I've seen our bold sustainability commitments, and every day I see us following through.
1 minute I'm leaving uni with my sports science degree. The next I'm in a room thinking of ideas to help millions of families during the pandemic.
I work in financial crime, international sanctions. As you can imagine, it's a pretty interesting place to be right now.
1 minute you're reading about the cost of living crisis, and the next you're writing a briefing paper on it.
Off the back of my dissertation on DevOps pipelines, I went into an engineering role, and now I'm rolling it out company-wide.
We all got million subscription nowadays, so my team built a tool that helps 18 million customers manage them in our app.
When it's not developing with React or Redux, it's gaming with the other grads, or the odd night out.
I couldn't be prouder of my outreach work through Lloyds, helping school-age girls and non-binary people get into coding.
My next step, go for an associate director role, either in my team or something new and exciting. How's that for a rotation?
Hi everyone, and welcome to Lloyds Careers Live for May. I'm Kieran, an apprentice here at Lloyds Banking Group, and together with my colleague Holly, tonight's show is all about one of the fastest developing career spaces right now, careers in data science and analytics.
That's right, and I'm Holly, also an apprentice here at Lloyds Banking Group. Whether it's your Spotify playlist, Netflix recommendations, or even online clothes shopping, we all love a personalised experience. Gone are the days when we're prepared to wade through pages and pages of stuff that just doesn't suit us. We're all busy people, and we like apps and websites that just seem to get straight to the point. And as we'll learn tonight, that is all powered by data.
If you're thinking data sounds like something you'd be using in computing and maths, you'd be right. But that's not all that it means. At the heart of things lie decisions. And as you'll learn tonight, data is insight, and careers in data are all about creating insight to allow companies and their customers to make smarter, faster, and more accurate decisions. It may seem like a world you don't really know, but as a consumer, the way you shop online, the way YouTube sequences its recommendations, the way Spotify suggests its artists you may like, you're already coming into contact with data science and analytics.
And while the origins of data science might be in computing and maths, if you're studying other subjects at school, you're probably already using some of the fundamental techniques. Let's say, for example, you're studying biology, chemistry, or physics. You're carrying out experiments or observations, making comparisons, or determining the probability of something. That's a core discipline of data science. If you're studying geography, you may be analysing population growth, migration patterns, or if you're studying politics or economics, you may be considering the implications of migration and an ageing population. All of these have fundamental elements of data science within them.
But all that data counts for nothing unless it has a good question at its heart and an even better answer. Another key and important discipline in data science is how we understand the question, how we evaluate the quality of the data that's contributing to the answer, and how we help leaders make informed decisions. A good data scientist doesn't hand over the reams of columns of data in a spreadsheet to a busy leader. They create a story that offers insight to help that busy leader make a good and well-informed decision. And for that, data visualization, how we represent findings through graphics and stories, is really important.
Almost everyone on this call will have heard of ChatGPT, just one AI engine that's out there. And AI thrives on data. But just because we can gather lots of data doesn't mean the decisions are accurate or ethical. So for those interested in law and philosophy, one of the emerging fields in data science and analytics concerns the ethics of collating and using data, dealing with those moments of conflict between what might feel right to a company to maximize its profits and what might feel fair and reasonable to consumers.
So as you can see, almost whatever subjects you're studying at school can lead you into this industry, but don't take our word for it. That's why on Careers Live, we'd like to bring you experts and people experienced in this field to help out. Coming up tonight, we have Rachel, Elizabeth and Gareth from Lloyds Banking Group's data team. As experts in this field, they'll help us learn more about the industry, what's been happening over the past year, and some of the things you could be doing if you make data science your career choice. Sean Rafter will join us from Firebrand, one of the leading companies training hundreds, if not thousands, of school leavers into data science apprentices. Sean will help us understand the training on offer through an apprenticeship and how the experience is a little different to what you will have experienced in school. And to get the lowdown on what it's like to get into this industry, we have apprentices James and Becky to tell us their stories. James had an established career in design engineering and had chosen to reskill mid-career into data science and analytics. Rebecca completed a psychology degree at university and has just completed a level 4 apprenticeship with a merit and now has aspirations to combine data and psychology skills together. I'm sure you'll agree that's a lot of combined experience we can draw on. Before we get going, let's see where you are in a confident understanding of careers in data analytics. We're going to put up a quick poll. If you're super confident, give us a 5. If you feel you know almost nothing, then just give it a 1.
We've got quite a lot of 4s coming in, quite a lot of confident people already, which is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 seems to be the most popular answer, so definitely some room for some more learning. So hopefully this Careers Live will be helpful for all of you. Well, however you feel right now, we'll certainly give you a lot more information over the course of the next hour. Our next question is we're really curious about what you think of us at Lloyds as being a potential destination for you. So our question is, to what extent do you think Lloyds Banking Group could be the right company for you to start your working life? If you're already convinced that we're up there as one of your key choices, you'll be heading towards a 5. And of course, if you're not sure right now, then pick one of the lower numbers. Quite a lot of people seem quite confident, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, great. 100% have answered now. So thank you for that insight. Tonight is your opportunity to get your questions answered. You can use the chat to ask what's on your mind. Our colleague Elaine from Lloyd's Next Gen Talent Team will be there answering as many as she can. Keep her busy. And right at the end of tonight's live stream, we'll get you access to our Imagine What's Next platform, which is packed with resources. help with applications, work experience, and over 100 mentors to help you with your career.
Being inclusive is really important to all of us at Lloyds Banking Group. If you benefit from closed captioning, you can activate that now on Zoom. If you're watching on YouTube, you can enable the facility over there also. We cover a lot of ground in an hour, and if you need a little more time, then as soon as we go off air at 6 p.m, the video is available for you to replay on our Lloyds Early Careers YouTube channel.
Time now to then dive into the world of data science and analytics. The thing that's interesting in this field of data science and analytics is that it's so new and developing so quickly that many people who are now our expert guests have themselves transitioned into the field from other professions. Joining us first is Gareth Cook. Welcome, Gareth. How are you?
Hi, Kieran. Very good, thank you. And hi, Holly.
Hi, Gareth.
Are you ready to jump in straight into the questions?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, first one up. How do you explain what you do to your friends and family?
That's a very good question. So Lloyds Banking Group has over 60,000 people working in the organisation, very large organisation. And my job is to help enable as many of those as possible to use data and analytics for their everyday work, for solving problems, but without the need to go to an expert. So what does that actually mean? So using Holly's example, if you think about how we decide what to watch at home, for example, using Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney, etc., we self-serve content. The content's very visually appealing. We get data on the programs, viewer ratings, etc., to enable us to help decide ourselves what we want to watch, what we want to choose. So in my job is how do we provide people in work with the ability to self-serve themselves by providing visually appealing ways of accessing data to help answer questions and solve problems.
Really interesting stuff. I'm sure that's really helpful to the viewers there. Next question is, I understand you moved into data relatively recently. So why did you make that move and what attracted you to data?
So I've had what we refer to as a kind of squiggly career. So I've done lots of different roles, lots of different jobs. I've moved around the place. And I think one of the common themes and threads throughout has been this drive to sort of keep learning, to continually learn. Things are changing so fast, you just need to keep up with that learning. And actually, from my perspective, I really like to be challenged. I really like to stretch myself. That's when I find things really interesting and fulfilling. So around 18 months ago, I was doing really well in a job. It was great. It was going well. However, I really felt that I was coasting and I wasn't maybe learning and stretching myself as well. So that's when I decided I needed a change. And data just seemed a perfect place to come and learn because there's so much going on, such a growth area, so many new advancements, so many things that we can do with data in terms of how we work, how we simplify the way we work. And you mentioned, some of the generative AI type developments, lots of potential in that space as well. So a really great place to be. And so it doesn't matter what age you are, always an opportunity to change careers and find this new world, this growth area, lots of potential, lots of possibility.
Really insightful. I'm sure lots of people within data have quite a squiggly career, given the fact it's so new. Next question is, what are some other highlights of the role?
Firstly, the team I work with. So you'll meet a couple of others from the team today. We're a small, diverse team, but making a really big impact in helping thousands of people in work learn new skills in how they use data, helping to transform the way they work. And secondly, every day is different. So every day brings new challenges, problems to solve. And I can honestly say that I enjoy my work today as much as I ever have. It's an exciting time and a place to work. So go for it.
That's brilliant to hear. I'm glad to hear you love your team and the job itself. It's really good stuff. And however, on the other side, what are some of the challenges of the job?
Well, it's quite a pivotal time at the moment. The advancements in sort of artificial intelligence, generative AI, look at what ChatGPT has enabled us to do within a relatively short period of time. In work, we're doing lots and lots of experiments, trying new AI tools, capabilities to explore what they can do, what they can't do, how useful and practical they will be to help support people in work, what the risks are, what the ethics are to consider. And how can we use AI tools to help support and personalize our work more, removing some of the more routine, mundane tasks? You're thinking of having your own AI virtual assistant as a co-pilot working with you, answering your questions, performing manual repetitive tasks so you can focus on the things that really matter?
Yeah, that's definitely some interesting stuff, especially with the acceleration recently. It's important to consider the ethics going into this career. So yeah, that's all from Gareth Crook tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Gareth. It's great to have a bit of an insight into terms of what a career in data can look like, because it can look really different for everybody, as we know. As we've heard, Gareth's team helped thousands of colleagues to use data to support their everyday working decisions. So we're going to keep Gareth with us just for the moment and bring in Rachel.
Hey Holly, hey Kieran, how you doing?
Hi Rachel, great to have you with us today. So kind of going to ask you the same question that Kieran asked Gareth. How would you describe what you do?
Yeah, good question. So I would say my role is a combination of two things. First, it's getting colleagues excited about data, especially on the data visualization side. And once we've got them interested, once we've got them in, once we've got them hooked, comes the second part, which is making sure those who are doing analytics, those who are in business intelligence, have the skills and capabilities to do their job well, and putting things in place to help them be successful.
Great, thank you. And you mentioned data visualization there. Would you be able to demonstrate to those on the call how data visualization can help convey information and tell a story to aid people's understanding of the data?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got an example actually, which we can share. So hopefully Hazel will be able to share that with everybody. Perfect. Okay, so let's take this this data set that we've got, so this little table. This is on highest grossing media franchises in the world. This is in dollars, in billions of dollars. So it's pretty boring when it's sat on a table, right? It's not particularly engaging. But if we build the slide, we can see how this can transform into a story. I don't know about you, but I much prefer the right-hand side to the left-hand side, and I'm hoping that everybody agrees with me. So if we just focus on the Pikachu in the middle, the Pokemon in the middle, in terms of what this is trying to show us, right? This is trying to show us the highest grossing media franchises in the world. And if we just focus on that number one spot, which is Pokemon, we can see this really, really clearly in this visualization. I mean, okay, you can pick it out from the table, but on the visualization, it's so much clearer. You can tell that it's number one because not only is the image, the Pokemon section front and center, there's a number one tag on it as well. And I think my favorite piece of detail is in the franchise's title at the top. The eye looks like a number one with a Pokeball as the dot, which I think is just really nice design detail. So you can't really mistake that Pokemon's on top, and it gives you some breakdown as well. So once you kind of look past that initial stab, you can get a way better story from this than just that table. But when we translate that back into somewhere like Lloyds, imagine that data set is now millions of rows, hundreds of columns. The need to visualize that data becomes much greater. You can't just pick it out whilst you can in this table. You won't be able to when there's that amount of fields. Also, not everybody who needs to know the information and the output will be a data scientist themselves. We can't expect our CEOs, all our execs to be data scientists, right? So it's our job as the data experts to make sure it is understandable and consumable, like this example. So thank you for sharing that, Hazel.
Thanks. That's really great to kind of see a live example of how bringing that data to life can really aid telling a story. You also spoke briefly about getting people excited about data. And I'm interested to hear what motivates you to come to work in the morning, and what do you enjoy most about your role? Is it that storytelling side or getting people more excited about data?
It very much is that scale that really kind of gets me going. I mean, Gareth will definitely attest to this as my boss over the past 18 months, that my ambitions know no bounds, right? So you know, at first we were making impact to a couple of hundred colleagues, and then it was thousands, and now it's tens of thousands. And you know, my sights are set everyone in the bank at this point. So that really gets me excited and makes me want to do more. I think that I find the subject matter, data visualization, really interesting myself. And so I try and make that excitement I have infectious, and I try to get other people to also be just as excited. And that kind of helps me jump out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, it's good to know. And how does this compare to what you thought you wanted to do when you were at school?
Oh my God, so totally different. So I thought I was going to be like a rock star. I'm not even joking. I went on Britain's Got Talent when I was 13.
Oh,
and
wow.
Thankfully, I was that bad that I didn't actually get through. So like my audition is in some archive somewhere in Simon Cowell's basement. So definitely a far cry from that. But having said that, I mean, I clearly just enjoy being creative, right? So be it in music that I'm not actually that good at, or be it on the data visualization side, been able to bring the creativity through, but not so much any musical prowess, that's for sure.
And same question for you, Gareth, if you don't mind. How does the role that you're currently doing compare to what you thought you wanted to do while you were at school? And can you see any links in terms of what you were interested in, like Rachel said, in terms of that musical, creative side that you're now using in your current role?
I think, yeah, I think, you know, if you think, I was also heavily involved in music and sport, but quite numerate as well. When I was at school, I did really like maths and statistics. So naturally, it fits quite well with data. But I think what we're finding today is, whilst it's good to have those things as good grounding, every subject these days has aspects that are relevant to data. It's pervasive, it's involved in everything that we do. So I think going back, where did I think? At one point, I wanted to be a dentist in the RAF, which was, you think, a bit bizarre. But it's because with the fast jet pilots, there's a particular dental condition which is quite unique, and it sounded like quite an exciting area at the time. But I'm so glad I didn't do that. I would certainly not have been as happy doing that than what I'm doing today. So yeah, there you go. Not quite a rock star, but luckily not a dentist in the RAF either.
See, the viewers can learn about data, and they can also learn about unique dental conditions in the RAF, something I didn't think I'd be learning about today. And last question for both of you, if you've got anything to add. What qualities or characteristics, you've mentioned a couple there, being analytical and creative, but are there any other characteristics that you think help people wanting to start a career and thrive in the data industry?
Shall I start, Rachel? And then
Yeah, go for it.
So I think, as with many jobs, careers today, we talk about the softer skills are becoming more and more important. So, you know, sometimes you can be put off the more technical jobs. You think, oh, I haven't got the technical expertise or that type of thing. But in all jobs, things are changing so fast. It's more important that you can learn quickly, adapt to different situations, solve problems, and communicate effectively. They're the things that really build the foundations. You can learn technical skills, but these days we have to learn new things pretty much every day. So I say that ability, that what we call our growth mindset, is really important. Being curious, etc. But Rach, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of building on the growth mindset, I think the piece of feedback that I hear a lot from colleagues who are going through some of our learning pathways is that they don't want to break stuff. They don't want to accidentally do the wrong thing in a dashboard. They don't want to accidentally make the wrong calculation. And to be honest, actually, that's the best way to learn. So just don't be afraid to break something. Obviously, maybe not to your stakeholders. Break it in your own private time, but don't be afraid to kind of try something new. Don't be afraid to do something different in a tool and really kind of push the boundaries of it, because that can really, really yield great results.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gareth and Rachel. That was really interesting and insightful. I'm sure viewers will be really appreciative of that. So finally, we're going to bring in Liz from the same team. She also recently changed her career path by completing an apprenticeship in data. Good evening, Liz. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Let's get straight into the questions. So, Liz, How do you describe what you do to your friends and family?
Yeah, so again, obviously, I'm in the same team as Rachel and Gareth, so it kind of feeds through into what I do with some of what they've said. But I guess initially for me personally, what I do is organise, thousands of colleagues into training these days. Each month, we've got monthly schedules, which I'll help arrange, get people on the courses, and get trainers to deliver the courses as well. But yeah, I guess it's things like making sure we've got data visualization tools. I work closer with one called Power BI, which is a Microsoft tool. So yeah, it's kind of getting all these colleagues to use things like a map or a graph or just something more visual, quick and easier to digest and pull insights from, really. But yeah, just organising a lot of that. And yeah, it could be something as simple as getting a massive sheet, an Excel sheet with loads and loads of rows of data. And we're just, again, showing people how they could put that into one page in Power BI and tell the same story, which is a lot quicker and easier.
Really interesting stuff. I'm sure everyone around data will know about using Power BI, Excel all the time. So really insightful. Another question, why did you decide to change your career and what attracted you to the apprenticeship program?
Yeah, so I guess I've worked for Lloyds now for like 18 years, so pretty much all of my working career. And I've done different roles, again, similar to like Gareth's story, been here a long time and done different roles within that. I actually took a role which was more like a project management, sort of more admin, looking after risk, completely different to what I'm doing now. But I took it in the team where there was a lot of colleagues building dashboards and visualizations and working with data every day and putting them into like things like, say, a Power BI dashboard, a one pager. And I'm seeing all these things and thinking, wow, that looks amazing. It's really easy to digest, so much more interesting looking at a row of data with, doesn't really tell you anything necessarily. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to be able to do that. Spoke to like my line manager about it, and they said, yeah, our team, our big overall team, actually sponsor a level 3 apprenticeship in data and insights. So I went straight into that. It's one of these things you do whilst you're learning on the job. So I carried on doing my normal job. It helped me with my current role and then prepared me for this role that I've now got.
That's really good to hear, seeing how random colleagues from around the bank can really get into data and how it can excite people.
Yeah.
Another question. Most of our audience are still at school, so how can they develop a taste for data science right now to prepare for this kind of career?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, there's loads of different things you can look at depending sort of what your specific area may be. But I guess if you're not sure what exactly what you want to look at, maybe have a look at a couple. So, there's things like you can go into ChatGPT, as mentioned before, and then, have a look at the analytics for something that interests you. So I would always say definitely look at something that's going to interest you for now. So there's data on everything. So whether it be, I don't know, your favorite TV show, your favorite sport, or even your favorite food, whatever it is, you can always get some sort of data around that. And then there's loads of websites. Like I remember when I was learning, I looked at W3 Schools, Code Academy, even things like YouTube. You could look at so much stuff. Obviously, Google, get on there, have a look. And I think it could help, get an idea of what different data careers there are. Like you say, there's data science, there's data visualization and analytics. There's all different things you can do with it. It's not just a one sort of thing you can do. There's plenty with it. And again, for us, we're always promoting our data visualization tools that we use within the bank. Things like Tableau, Power BI. Definitely go on, have a Google, have a look at stuff, find one that you're interested in, use some data that you like, and definitely join some communities. You can speak to people who work on those tools and new people, all sorts of people, to find out all different information on what you might be interested in going forward.
Thank you, Liz. That's really helpful. It's also good to hear like how much variation there is in the data field. It's not just simply coding or mathematical coding. It's variety of things to visualization to coding as well. So thank you.
Gareth, Rachel, Liz, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great to hear about your squiggly careers and kind of how you got into data, and also just been great to get a bit of an insight into what a career and data can look like. So thank you all, been really useful.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, for some of you watching, in the near future, you might be reaching the end of your time at school, and it can often feel like you're facing a choice between university, apprenticeships, or going straight into work. Though many of you say you know more about apprenticeships than ever before, one of the big questions we hear all the time is, what does apprenticeship training really look like? And how does it compare with what you've experienced in school and maybe what you would experience at university? And what better person to help us understand that journey than Sean Rafter from Firebrand? Firebrand is one of the small number of specialist training partners that Lloyds Banking Group uses to help all of our apprentices learn. Hi, Sean. See you've managed to join us today.
How's it going?
Great to have you with us. So let's dive straight in. So, Sean, most of our audience will be familiar with the UCAS process where you choose your university. For apprenticeships, it's more normal for the employer to choose the training provider. So who are Firebrand? It'd be great if you could tell us about your expertise in delivering quality training.
So you're exactly right. I suppose it's a completely different choice in terms of choosing a university. I think kind of students in that sense, it'd be more about choosing the employer, and then like you say, the employer chooses the kind of training provider who they want to work with. So Firebrand Training, we've been around for I think just over 23 years now. We started off in the commercial training space, so if you needed a specific course and certification to perform your role, you come to our and train in our Y Boston Training Centre, and if Hazel can load up the slide deck and maybe go to slide number 2, you can actually see it. There's a load of stats which I probably won't bore you with, although it is kind of a data session. So you can see our state-of-the-art training centre there. It might not look super state-of-the-art from the outside, but on the inside, it's got all the things you would kind of expect in terms of a training centre. So yeah, we've been around for 23 years. We started delivering commercial courses. We've recently branched out into digital boot camps and obviously apprenticeships as well. And reality is with Firebrand is if you go to the next slide, if you wouldn't mind, Hazel, we operate on either a residential basis or an online and instructor-led basis. So we're predominantly a residential training centre, and the idea behind that is we want to get you come and live with us, and you stay in a hotel right next door. We'll kind of in terms of the apprenticeship, we will feed you 3 square meals a day and nice meals. We'll drown you in Coke and Fanta and tangerines and oranges and sweets and that type of stuff. But the idea behind that is distraction-free training. So we're trying to eliminate as many life distractions as possible. So the students, be they apprentices, be they coming on boot camps or commercial courses, they can just focus in on all the learning they need to do. COVID had a big impact on that. And with the lockdown, we could hardly have people coming and training with us. So we launched what we call OIL, which is obviously related to Firebrand, and that's our online and instructor-led initiative. And so you'll actually still get a physical trainer in the classroom, but you'll be able to dial in virtually. And if you can see that picture on the right-hand side, there's also a kind of hybrid option as well. So we might have people in the classroom sat around a bank of desks, and at the back, a load of screens so people can kind of interact and join into the kind of the Firebrand ethos of training.
Thank you. Great to have some visuals and kind of dive into what the different methods of study look like there. It'd be great if you could give us some insight into the different levels of apprenticeships. I know a lot of students ask us all the time, what do the different level mean? I know Liz mentioned earlier about a level 3. What's the difference between those? We're all quite familiar with an A level or a degree, but I think that apprenticeship levels aren't commonly spoken about. So it'd be great if you could expand and explain what this concept means.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you might not be super aware of it when you're studying. So I think probably the easiest way to think about it, and they're not directly transferable, but GCSE is a level 2, A level is a level 3. Some people think that, well, there's this kind of school of thought that says if you do a level 3 apprenticeship, that's equivalent to kind of 2 A levels. So it gets a little bit misty and murky when you start to get to that level. But then we get to level 4, which is the first year of a degree. If you did do an apprenticeship, you wouldn't clearly live in halls, etc., etc. You'd be working and maybe not having as much fun as you did on the first year of a degree. Level 5 would be a second year of a degree. Level 6 would be a full degree. There are level 7 apprenticeships as well. So we're up to a master's level, and you could even do a level 8 apprenticeship in terms of a doctorate as well. So when you start to think about those levels, they are kind of transferable. Level 3 A level, level 4 degree, level 6 full degree, level 7 masters, level 8 doctorate. So there is some structure and some sense in terms of the way that the UK have kind of positioned those levels.
Hopefully that translation is helpful to those watching. We talk about apprenticeships as an earn whilst you learn experience. How does Firebrand structure its training programs in particular?
So I suppose we have to intrinsically work with the employers. So the apprentices need to be given time to study. So be it time to study outside of the classroom, they'll obviously be picking up skills and competency while they're actually working. And they'll also need to come and train with us in the classroom as well. So when we structure the programs, we're really keen to get speed to competence. So we want you to be as usable an employee as quickly as possible. But I think it's fair to say that apprenticeships they're not a quick burn. A lot of the apprenticeships that Firebrand run, particularly with Lloyds, are kind of 15 to 18 month programs. So they're relatively long in length. And so we kind of structure them in a coherent sequence. So you might have 5 days worth of training in the 3rd month, and then another 5 days worth of training in the 5th month, and another 5 days worth of training in the 8th month, and another 5 days worth of training in kind of the 12th month. And that's leading you up to that endpoint assessment phase that we have with apprenticeships, making sure that those apprentices are competent, and that really does increase the integrity of the qualification, which I think is really cool. So in terms of structuring, very much with the employer. Not necessarily like a college where you might do a day a week, something a bit more closer to a commercial training course where you might come and study commercially and pay thousands of pounds to study for 5 days in a row. So we've kind of lifted and shifted that commercial approach, kind of characterized it with liaison with our customers and our clients, and kind of built that broader apprenticeship program over a slightly long period of time.
Yeah, it really differs, doesn't it, from how students might expect to learn at university.
It's much more professional in its approach. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned the endpoint assessment there, which is a term that might be unfamiliar among our audience. Would you be able to give a bit of insight into what that is? I know it can be really different for each level and each different subject. So maybe just focusing on the data one for an example.
Yeah, so I think it's difficult to mention an endpoint assessment without mentioning the standard. So it's something like when I did my GCSEs, I didn't know there was a syllabus. And when I did my A-levels, the same thing. When I did my degree, I had no idea there were things they were meant to teach us. But actually, it's kind of more upfront and more transparent with apprenticeships. So there's an apprenticeship standard, which says, here's what you need to know. Here's the skills that you need to prove you can do in the workplace. And here's how you need to behave in that role. So there's those knowledge, skills, and behaviors, and we kind of acronize them to KSBs. And then the second document, which is really important for apprenticeships, is called the Endpoint Assessment Plan. And it's a really detailed document that says, you're going to be tested like this. At this time during the apprenticeship, you're going to be asked this many questions. You're going to be required to write this length of project, etc., etc. So for data at level 4, there's 2 really specific assessment methods. The first one is a project with a presentation and questioning. And that can only happen or be kind of started in anger once you get through the practical phase of the apprenticeship. But for data, that might be the development of a dashboard or a piece of deep dive analytics. And it's the kind of planning and realization of that deep dive analytics or that dashboard. And the other assessment method is a bit of a slower burn that can kind of start and be finished before you get into the endpoint assessment phase or the final couple of months of the apprenticeship. And that's a portfolio of evidence, which is really quite often Word documents, which kind of shows, here's me doing predictive analytics or using statistics within data, or here's me extracting data in an efficient manner. Lots of screen grabs showing exactly how it's working, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the cool thing with apprenticeships is really transparent and exactly how you're going to be tested. And you're tested by an independent organization, independent to both Firebrand and to Lloyds. So that maintains the integrity of the qualification. And I think with data specifically, there aren't that many tool agnostic. And when I say tool agnostic, there's lots of courses on Power BI and Tableau. There aren't that many courses on how to be a data analyst. And actually, the apprenticeship is probably the go-to qualification in terms of that generic understanding and concept of how to be a data analyst.
Thank you. Final question. A lot of the students watching might have heard some of those terms that you just used, like dashboards and predictive analytics, and might be thinking, oh God, I don't know anything about that. So it'd be great to hear how Firebrand turns someone who knows very little about that kind of subject into a fully functioning data scientist or data analyst.
I think the first thing to note is, I suppose, data science is probably a few levels beyond data analytics. So when I was talking about levels before, the level 4 data analyst is obviously at level 4. Data science is at level 6, so it's a good couple of notches up. And I think whilst we would look for a broad brush, so realistically, we align ourselves with what the organization wants. So like Lloyds going through a recruitment drive, they will be quite specific about what they do and they don't want in terms of the people coming into their organization. And over time, those kind of constraints have got lower and lower, and they're kind of welcoming in a broader range and a more diverse range of workforce into their organization because they know there are things like the apprenticeship which can kind of bolster them. So what we do is we'll assign those apprentices a learning mentor. They'll also have a separate trainer. So the learning mentor and the trainer are 2 different roles within Firebrand. And on top of that, there's a subject matter expert. So someone that's been in industry like myself for over 20 years. It doesn't look like it, but trust me. And they've kind of been there, got the t-shirt, and there's not many challenges that they can't overcome. And so it's, in terms of bringing people in that maybe haven't got the most experience around analytics, it's very much on a bespoke basis. So that learning mentor will get to know that student. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Where do we bolster? They'll call in that subject matter expert or that trainer, and we'll focus in on kind of specific areas. And generally speaking, most data apprentices, they struggle with the statistics part of the business and the part of the role. So we spend a lot of time with bespoke one-to-one sessions, understanding where they work in their role, what kind of data they have access to, what kind of statistical tests would be more applicable than others. And then we coach them on a one-to-one basis in terms of being able to realize those statistical tests. But we have kind of lots of different people from lots of different walks of life, people that have left from school, people that have retrained. So we might have a specific bridging program, a specific platform and program catered for people that have just left school, because actually leaving school and getting into the world of work can be quite daunting. So we'll identify that really early on, and we might put some kind of ancillary support like a bridging program to help them make that transition from school into the world of work and the apprenticeships as well. So the cool thing with Firebrand is very much a bespoke basis. We play what we've got in front of us, which I think is a really cool thing.
Thank you. It's really great to hear the support that students can get as well. I'm sure that's really reassuring to those listening. Sean, thank you so much for joining us today, and a big thank you to Firebrand for the ongoing support that they give Lloyds apprentices.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, time to go back to the audience. Let's see how much you know about data science and analytics. Here are 4 fiendish multiple choice questions. Here's the first one, and experts, do feel free to chip in your thoughts. What is data analytics? A method of storing data alphabetically. B, the process of analyzing raw data to extract useful insights. C, storing data in a secure database. Or D, none of the above.
I see some answers coming through in the chat.
Yep.
Lots of people saying B, 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 B. I've got capital B's in here. You know the answer, Kieran? This is a good test of our knowledge.
I think a lot of you have got it correct. Well done, everyone. Yes, the answer is B.
Okay, let's see how you get on with question number 2. What is the purpose of data visualization in data analytics? Gareth, I'm hoping that your team, Rachel and Liz, be getting this one right. A, to make data look more colourful. B, to represent data graphically for easier understanding. C, to encrypt data for security purposes. D, none of the above. Got some more questions coming through. Yeah, lots of B's again.
Looks like we have a strong audience here.
Lots of capital B's. And you would be correct. The answer is B, to represent data graphically for easier understanding.
Brilliant. You're clearly getting the hang of this one now. So here's your third question. Which of the following is an example of an of structured data? A, social media posts. B, emails. C, spreadsheets. Or D, none of the above. Slightly harder one this time, I believe.
Got C's and D's.
Yeah.
So spreadsheets or none of the above. Do you know the answer, Kieran?
Yep, the answer is C. Well done, everyone. A few of you got that right. A bit of a mixture there, but on the whole, I think most of you have got that correct.
And here is your last and final question. What is clustering in data analysis? A, grouping similar data points together based on a certain criteria. B, sorting data alphabetically. C, encrypting data for security purposes. Or D, none of the above. Lots of A's. Capital A's again with exclamation marks this time. Very confident on the A. And you would be correct. It is grouping similar data points together based on a certain criteria. Thanks everybody for participating.
Clearly have a very strong audience tonight. Well done everyone. Let's just have a quick check on our expert panel to see how they managed to perform. Pretty good, especially, which is good to see the teacher knew all the right answers. Hopefully that gave you a tiny flavour of the concepts you'd be learning if you set out an apprenticeship in data science and analytics. As this is such a new and fast growing field, there are lots of different ways to start your career journey, whether straight from school, after university, or even as a second or third career choice. At Lloyds Banking Group, our apprentices are as diverse in their experience as it comes. And here are some of those that joined us recently to tell you why they love to work at LBG.
Love to work at LBG. So it was the feeling that I got when I was welcomed by my team.
Helping people in the most vulnerable of moments.
There's always like some activities going on, fun activities.
Honestly, I actually really can't appreciate everyone enough.
When I joined the group, the first day itself was very warm and welcoming.
And fun as well, a bit of fun too when you were doing the learning and stuff. And
everybody's welcoming, warm, you feel at home.
Satisfaction when you finish the call and somebody's like, thank you, you've helped so much, just makes your day a little bit better.
It's just been very enlightening to have a team that actually supports me and gets me going and ready for work. I've never really had that before.
As a bit of a nerd, the technology is really appealing.
The systems, they're easy to learn.
I really do love it here, and the people are great, everyone is great, coming into the office is great.
My training was genuinely fantastic. It set you up for success.
You are free to express yourself.
There's a lot of stuff to do in Lloyds that are outside of work.
I found the opportunities available very exciting.
It was easier to do the training with people that you can kind of get on with and have a laugh with.
There is always something that I learn every single day I'm at work.
I felt included from the start. It was really professional, really efficient.
I really enjoy the emphasis placed on personal growth and development.
Every avenue is open, it's very friendly. People are willing to talk and share what they do.
Such a great video. And it goes to show, whilst many companies may have software developers, quality engineers, and data scientists, every company has its own culture, its own way of supporting people in role. And as you research different companies, it's important to find a place that you can be happy, because that's where you'll thrive and do your best. Next up, we're going to invite our apprentices, Rebecca and James, to the stage. Welcome, James.
Hi, Holly. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Kieran.
Hiya.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hey, guys.
So, James, we'll start with you. I know that you come into the world of data analytics from another career. So could you tell us a bit about that journey and what it's been like for you as an apprentice?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm obviously not quite as young as perhaps your typical apprentice, but so I mean that obviously shows that there's opportunities for apprenticeships for apprentices from all different sorts of backgrounds and age groups. But yeah, I started out. I sort of did the traditional educational route, A levels, and then into a degree in design, and then sort of fell into a career really in manufacturing engineering. And it was never really a career I chose. It was just something I was relatively good at and enjoyed. And with the pandemic coming around, some changes happened in life, and I really got to thinking about what it was that I really wanted to do, and always had an interest in the sort of tech related fields and stuff. And yeah, the data sort of side of the industry looked particularly interesting. I've always found it fascinating how you can take information and what that's telling you and what you can do with that. So yeah, it's been really good. I'm 8 months into my apprenticeship now with Lloyds, and I absolutely love it. I love my my workplace. My colleagues are great, and it's a really good nurturing environment. So yeah, love it.
It's great to hear. And how did you find going back to the classroom, earning and learning at the same time?
Yeah, so I must admit that probably was one of my biggest concerns. I kind of felt I was probably going to be alongside a lot of younger people that had just come out of A levels or recently done a degree, and I knew there was going to be some of that formal education that went alongside the apprenticeship, and I was a bit concerned about how good my brain was going to be, to getting back into that classroom type environment at times, and all the different sort of online learning and that. So it's turned out really well. I think I'm getting along okay. I've done, as Sean mentioned, the sort of residential learning. I've done 3 of those now. The third one was definitely a bit more challenging, but yeah, I'm actually really thriving on learning lots of new stuff. So it's been good.
That's great. And you said that you've been here for 8 months. And do you have an idea where you've set your sights on for when your current apprenticeship ends?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's still sort of some unknowns, but I'm definitely building a bit of a picture. I really want to progress with the formal learning, and there should be that opportunity. I'm hoping to go on to the level 6 and get that degree in data science. So that's definitely something I've set my sights on. And in terms of a role within the bank, I'm still a bit open to various different things, but sort of maybe more of a data engineering kind of role is something that's I think perhaps catching my attention at the moment. I'm loving learning some of the more sort of language based stuff like SQL and R and Python and things. So hopefully some way of using some of those tools.
I think some of the students watching might not even know that there's availability or possibilities to be a data engineer at a bank like Lloyds Banking Group. So great to hear you touch on that. Becky, I'm going to come to you if you don't mind. So lots of our audience will be facing into that common dilemma. Do they go to uni or do they go for an apprenticeship? Now, we heard earlier that you actually did do an degree and have also completed the apprenticeship. So it'd be great to hear about your experience on both of those.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, as you said, I went to uni. I did that straight after my A levels. I would say that when I was looking at next steps after sixth form, there sort of wasn't really much talk on apprenticeships, certainly not as much as there is now. So I sort of just chose like my favourite subject at A level and went with it. I did really enjoy it, but I would say, I mean, apart from the fact that COVID hit in my second year, I would say the class size was like 400 odd people, and it wasn't really very personal. And when I compare it to the learning I have had here at Lloyds, you have like a one-to-one mentor, and then you've got your five-brand mentor as well, and you can just ask any questions that you want. Whereas obviously when you're in a class with 400 people, there's a lot less time and resources for you. I also like the whole learning on the job. So obviously anyone that goes to uni will know that it's sort of classroom heavy, and it's just theory based, and you don't really get the chance to put your skills into practice. Whereas with the apprenticeship I did, as James said, the residentials are a really good way to learn the skills practically, and then you can take them into your job and your day-to-day role, and put them straight into practice so that you don't forget them and so that you can sort of build on them, which is something I didn't really get to do at uni. And I also think going straight into the workplace with the skills is really valuable, because you learn the soft skills as well as the like data skills. So I think there's pros and cons, but I would say also with an apprenticeship, you've not got student debt, you're earning straight away. I think it's a very positive experience compared to uni was.
There's lots of differences in the study and the approach to learning in terms of university versus an apprenticeship. And now that you've completed your first apprenticeship, so congratulations, where are you thinking of heading next?
So short term, I think I'll be staying in my current team, because what we look at is all of the stuff around the mobile app. So if any of you are Lloyds customers, you'll be have experience with the app, hopefully positive ones, but there's still a lot more to learn in the current team that I'm in, because we are quite a big team and lots of smaller teams work on different things within the app. So there is always the opportunity when you finish the apprenticeship to branch out and go to a new team, new area of the business, but I'm quite happy where I am for now. I think there's still a lot to learn. I've built good relationships. I've got a really good relationship with my manager, so I think I'll stick here for now. In terms of long term, I'd be really interested to look at the behavioural sciences team, so sort of mixing the data knowledge and the psychology knowledge that I've got. I think that would be really useful. And that's sort of tracking like how customers behave, what they're likely to do next, kind of using predictive analytics. So I think that'd be a good way to sort of merge my two skills together, hopefully.
Again, great to hear you touch on behavioural science, again, a role and a sector that students might not think is possible when working for a bank. James, I'm just going to come back to you. Be great to hear what tips you would give our audience this evening in terms of developing your career, considering you've had quite a squiggly career yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a good question. I think from my point of view, it's about building your network, getting to know the people you work with, and being inquisitive. Reaching out. If you don't know something, find out. Speak to people and build those connections. And be prepared to sort of sometimes stick your neck out and get involved with something that you might not necessarily have normally been involved with or something, and and that way you start to find out about the things that you enjoy, what you're good at, and ultimately, normally if you enjoy something, you put the time and effort into it, and that's normally going to be, I think, in my mind, a pretty good recipe for developing yourself and success in your career.
Thank you. And Becky, back to you for the final question. We know that lots of employers offer apprenticeships, but what makes Lloyds really stand out for you?
I think it's been mentioned quite a lot on the call, but sort of the data side, we have a really huge data set. So obviously, in terms of just data apprenticeships, there's so much data to work with, so much exposure that you can get. And then just broadly in terms of Lloyds, their relationships are just really great. I mean, my first day in the office was quite nerve-wracking because I only knew like one guy in my team, and everyone just makes you feel so comfortable. I think especially being an apprentice, everyone's like, basically you can use it to your advantage. Just ask as many questions as you want, put in calls with as many people as you want, and you can just sort of ask so many questions and get such a broad knowledge of what the bank does, what are the opportunities. And then, as I said, when you finish the apprenticeship, you're not stuck in that one business area. You can go on to try your hand at another apprenticeship, whether it be data or not. I just think there's a lot of opportunities in the bank that are not talked about that often to future apprentices.
Yeah, definitely. Well, James, Becky, thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck with your future endeavours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, really good to hear the diverse sort of pathway you can take into an apprenticeship, not just the traditional route of going for an apprenticeship through your A-levels after school or your GCSEs after school. So good to hear the diverse ways you can get into an apprenticeship. Up next, we are often asked, how do you figure out which apprenticeship journey might suit you best? Our colleague Ian filmed this short video with his favourite resources out there to help you with your journey.
Hi everybody, it's Ian here from the Lloyds Early Careers team, and they've given me 2 minutes to talk to you about my favourite websites for discovering what's next on your journey. So here we go, no time to waste. Coming in at number 5 is some useful resources here from the Association of Apprentices and Amazing Apprentices. There are some great resources in here. The Association of Apprentices in particular, a great way to meet other apprentices and find out what that journey is like compared to university. And at number 4, of course, Amazing Apprenticeships, which just has so much information, including just ways in which you can find out what apprenticeship might suit you by just looking at subjects that you like. And there's some great resources for parents in there as well. Now, at number 3, we have the government's resources. This is the government's Find an Apprenticeship service, where you can look for live vacancies. It's a really good idea in there. And if you're not sure whether that pay is going to be competitive, the National Careers Service You can find out all sorts of things about what you'll be paid in training and what you should be expecting after training as well, so you can command your place in the marketplace. Now, coming in at number 2, our friends at UCAS, a whole range of resources here, from finding your next job, information about how to construct a CV, pass an assessment centre, and all kinds of different things. And if you don't know what you want to do at all, there's even a cool career quiz as well to help you. And of course, coming in at number 1, Lloyds Banking Group's resources, the Lloyds Bank Academy, and alongside that, our work experience information and the one QR that you need, which is for our Imagine What's Next platform. Signing up here on that QR code will get you front of line access to all of our skills training, all of the learning we offer, all of the experiences we can do, access to our work experience and early notification of vacancies as well. What's not to like? That's all you need to do on your journey as you imagine what's next.
Wow, very impressive from Ian there to get that all into 2 minutes. And at the end there, Ian mentioned the Imagine What's Next platform. This is our one-stop shop to help you throughout your time at school and college, where we can give you access to learning courses, work experience, front of line notifications when vacancies are released, and access to over 90 mentors to help answer questions you have or provide you with new thoughts and inspiration about your career path. And it's all free. So if you do just one thing as a result of this evening, do be sure to click on the link in the chat and register with Imagine What's Next. Now, at the start of tonight's stream, we asked you 2 questions. Let's run these polls again and see how you now feel. So the first question was, how well do you think you understand careers in data science and analytics? Oh, a few 5s this time, which is great. Shows that it's been really useful tonight, which is good.
Great to see the progression throughout the meeting.
Maybe some people thought they were really confident in it, and now, having heard some of the guest speakers we've had on, now feeling, oh, maybe I don't actually know as much as I thought. Great to see that the confidence has increased. So we then also asked you at the start of the stream whether you could see yourself working at Lloyds Banking Group. If you feel it's extremely unlikely, give it a 1. If you feel it's absolutely certain, then give it a 5. Oh, some 5s coming in, which is great. Fantastic. Hope to see some of you soon then, these people who are voting 5.
Brilliant. Okay, well, hopefully this means that we'll be seeing some of you up here presenting Lloyds Careers Live in 2025 or beyond. We have loved having your company this evening, and thank you to our expert guests, our apprentices, and Kaplan for supporting us. The apprenticeship movement is one giant family. We've all faced into that question of, what do you want to be when you grow up? We all want to make that journey better for you now. We want to stay connected, so do make sure to join our Imagine What's Next platform next and meet the fantastic mentors standing by to help. You can replay any part of this live stream by going to our YouTube channel. We'll be back once again on the first Tuesday of June, that's June the 4th at 5 p.m. for our next Lloyds Careers Live. But from Holly and myself, we wish you every success wherever your career takes you.
What does success mean to us?
Success is making a difference.
For our customers and our communities.
Success is empowering people from the start.
Building their confidence.
Giving them tools to start their careers.
Success is putting our people first.
It's knowing when to listen.
And making the time to talk.
Success is supporting causes we care about.
It's getting involved.
All hands on deck.
Success is making banking better.
It's engineering a fairer future.
Making progress and leaving no one behind.
Whatever shape it takes.
Success starts with us.